So it's really powerful. And I think those are a few of the key reasons why it takes so much less cash to get started.
Why do you think e-commerce, especially with this lean dropshipping business model, requires so much less capital compared to a traditional retail store?
Well, the first one, and probably quite obvious, is that there is no physical inventory. So, with traditional retail and in having a shop, you needed stock, you needed products, you needed to buy those products a lot of the time, and you needed storage from them as well. So you needed a space, a premises, a retail shop or a warehouse, which then you had to pay a monthly lease on and have a contract and have insurance and all of those things. And then probably have like a warehouse person or an employee in the shop that you're then paying national insurance on. You're then paying, pension contributions on, like all of the extra stuff on top of that, the responsibility. And then they go off on sick leave or maternity leave or 2 weeks holiday, and suddenly you have to pay for cover. Like there's all these things that you just no longer have to even think about, because with dropshipping there is no upfront stock. Therefore, it's almost like a cascade of problems that it solves, because you then don't need a physical premises. You then don't need any staff for that. You then don't need a fulfillment center. Do you see what I mean? Like it kind of staggers down, and it just solves one problem after another after another. The other thing is, just because you're selling products virtually, through a digital platform, you're selling these physical products, it doesn't mean you need to start with tens of thousands of products. I think sometimes people get overwhelmed and they think, oh, well, if the physical premises and having a warehouse isn't a constraint, then let me sell everything. And so they create this like monster store that, that expression, if you're trying to talk to everyone, you're actually talking to no one. And it's like we're just plastering different types of products all over the store, trying to compete with Amazon or Wayfair at their own game. And customers land on your store and they're not really sure what you sell. Instead, if you focused on a very subset demographic, a market, a group of people, and you sell a specific type of product to those people, later on, once that's working, you can start to branch out. And what you'll find is when you sign suppliers and you realize their products are selling well, you can say to them, do you have other ranges of products that you may not have thought we would want to sell, but actually we'd like to put it on? And when you've positioned your brand correctly, so you've not kind of pigeonholed yourself to the point where you couldn't possibly expand, you can just add on those other subcategories, and suddenly your business can double or triple just through the amount of extra products that you have available for customers, without even signing a new supplier, just from expanding the range of that same supplier group's products that you're selling. So it's really powerful. And I think those are a few of the key reasons why it takes so much less cash to get started than if you had to go and put 50 grand or 100 grand into starting a retail franchise or something like that.
Exactly. And one of the key things as well, when it's all online, is that you don't need to physically man a shop. So, hiring staff to be in person to serve your customers doesn't need to happen. And because it doesn't need to happen like that, it means we can hire people from different countries to serve our customers, to fulfill the orders that we generate with the business, to look after the stock on the website, etc., etc. All of the day-to-day tasks of running an e-commerce business doesn't need to be done by somebody physically in the UK. Another big benefit of that is it's another way of keeping your ongoing overhead costs of your business low, because oftentimes we can hire from countries that have experts at customer service. So for example, the Philippines, they are experts at customer service. They've got a lot of training in that country already for people that are doing these virtual assistant roles for huge companies like Amazon, often hire from the Philippines as well. And so we can then also hire somebody from that country who are outstanding at English, very cheerful, friendly, good at their jobs, good at customer service, better than I could ever be. But as well, they are also much lower cost than to hire somebody in the UK to do the same role. So another benefit of an online job or an online business is that we don't need to spend so much in the ongoing costs of running it through the people that run our businesses for us as well. Yeah, so many reasons. But it is easy to get carried away, I think, with e-commerce or any business, to start trying out different unnecessary purchases or investments and trying different things out. So how would you recommend, or how did you do it in your business as well? How did you stay disciplined and avoid costly mistakes when you start your business and don't go into too many unnecessary purchases?
Well, my opinion is you have to focus on just the essentials when you start. So you've got to prioritize what are those core tools or what are the core services that are absolutely necessary to run this business for, in order for it to make a profit. What do I need? And when you strip away all of the rubbish and the fluff, you actually end up with very, very low overheads in a business like that. And obviously there are lots of nice kind of bells and whistles and things you can tack on later when you have the profit to do that. But at the beginning, the biggest challenge is avoiding shiny object syndrome, if you've heard of that. And that's where is that a magpie that likes shiny objects? I always forget. And they like go and steal people's keys and they see a new shiny thing and they're like, oh, shiny object. Let me go and pick that up. I think that's what we have to battle constantly as entrepreneurs. The reason is other entrepreneurs who are very good at marketing their Shopify apps or their services and their products are very good at persuading you that their shiny object is the thing you need, that is the key. And so then suddenly we're in this world and we're like, everywhere we look, suddenly our Facebook feed's full of these people trying to like sell different services. It's very difficult to kind of sift through the noise and figure out what do I actually need here. And actually sometimes the best thing you need is just the basics, just the essentials, just the kind of the pathway to actually get the business up and running with the bare minimum overheads. So I think, yeah, if you can avoid overspending initially on marketing as well, that will help. Don't just say, okay, well, I'm going to pour some money into ads and that'll be that. And the more I spend on it, the more returns I'll get. That to me is a surefire way to just hand over your money to the ad platforms like Google or Meta. Instead, invest slowly. And then as you see a profitable return on ad spend, so say you're getting, I don't know, 12 or 15 times return on investment. So you put £1 in, you get £12 back in terms of, sales ratio. If that's profitable for you and that works with your margins, then maybe you start saying, okay, well, I'm going to increase my budget a little bit. Then if we're able to maintain and meet that return on ad spend, then it doesn't really affect me whether I spend £10 a day on ads or £100 a day on ads. I'd just make way more profit with the other way. But you can't dive into that and hope that works. You have to start small and iterate and test and, work your way up to it. Start with a small budget, test what works, let it run for 2 weeks, 30 days, and then reinvest those profits on incrementally increasing that budget, assuming you can hold that return on ad spend, instead of saying, okay, I need to go and get a business loan now for 50,000 to pour money into ads because that's the way businesses succeed. All you'll end up with at the end of that is a load of unprofitable sales and an outstanding loan of 50k that you can't afford to pay back. And so that's not a position you want to be in, I imagine.